Blog Talk Radio. Hi, welcome to today's episode of 219 GreenConnect, where we explore topics about the environment and green living in Northwest Indiana. For past show archives, news, and upcoming events, you can check out our website at 219greenconnect.com or connect with us on Facebook or Twitter. I am your host, Kathy Sipple, and today I have with me Bill Halliar from Race for the Future. Bill, are you on the call with me?
Kathy, I'm here with you.
I'm glad to have you. we mad scientist types maybe have too many things on our mind.
Yes, I suppose.
No.
It's a good excuse anyway.
I'm awfully glad we connected. I was very excited to learn of your event through a friend of mine, Donna, who works with planning of Earth Day, and she told me you were going to be there. And so we'll just back up a minute here. The name of your organization is called Alternate Power Initiative, is that correct?
Alternate Power Initiative, exactly,
okay.
Yes.
Great. And if I understand it correctly, you have what will be a fourth annual race this year where innovators are encouraged to build or design vehicles that run on alternate power and run a course, is it through Whiting, Indiana?
Whiting, Indiana, exactly, yes.
Very
a 5-mile course.
Yeah, so tell us, how did you get interested in alternate power and how did this race idea come together?
Well, I'm an engineer, retired engineer, and I've always been interested in invention and new ideas. And Whiting being my hometown and being the home of Standard Oil and the place where actually the practical process for the cracking of heavy oil, distillation of heavy oil into gasoline became practical. It seemed like Whiting would be the perfect place to run a race where we would perhaps try to come up with vehicles that might go beyond what we are using today and beyond gasoline and oil and look to the future for some new sources of energy.
Great. So this will be the fourth annual. What are some, kind of memorable submissions that come to your mind from prior years? Well,
we've had some air-powered vehicles. We've had some that ran in various different kinds of gases that were found from different sources other than petroleum.
Okay, like biodiesel or something?
Exactly.
Okay.
We've had some electric vehicles, but we're actually, I have it in the back of my mind that somewhere out there's a fuel that has not been explored yet. In fact, I'm convinced of it. And that's what we're trying to encourage people to really, really think outside of the box and come up with something different.
Very cool. All right, this is unscripted, everybody. So if I throw Mr. Halliar for a loop, please don't. Please don't. I remember going to an Earth Day. Gosh, it's probably been 7 years ago or so, and hearing about Brown's gas, and it was some kind of powered by water. Do you know anything about that, or have you had any submissions that were using that? It sounded so interesting to me, but I haven't heard much about it since.
That sounds interesting, and I have not heard of that.
No idea.
No.
Okay, well, I'm going to encourage some innovator out there to enter this contest and tell us all about it. Yeah.
Our course is 5 miles, but we're really an inventor and innovator-friendly group, and the point is not particularly to go 5 miles, but to bring your ideas and show it, talk to the other inventors that come, try it out, and we try to let everyone who really makes an effort go home with a little prize money so that they can continue their research.
That's great. And I just want to give a shout out for your website so people can find out more about, past races, and I'm sure there's an application on here or some process for innovators. Is it alternatepowerinitiative.com? Is that the best place for people to go?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
And I see that there's a like button to your Facebook page right there, too. So if you want to take it social, you can go there and communicate, your ideas. That sounds really cool. So how far away do innovators come from? Are they mostly from the region or from all over the place?
Well, we're looking for people from all over the country or all over the world. We had a fellow from Canada, one fellow from Minnesota come down this year. And there's a gentleman in Paris, France, that's interested in partnering with someone here in the United States to put his ideas to work and to test them out on our course.
Very cool.
We've reached the world, although, inventors are an elusive group. And I've talked to hundreds of people, and so many people have ideas, but to take the time to actually put it to practice, that's where the rub is, and that's where it takes a special person to really dedicate themselves to spending some time trying to reduce their ideas to practice.
So, of the people who have entered this in the past, have there been any commonalities among them? Do they come from an engineering background? Are they hobbyists? Or what's the typical innovator look like?
Actually, I can't say there's a typical. They've been from many different areas, actually. So, no one actually from an engineering background.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Actually, a lot of people suggest that we go to the schools because a lot of folks, they have senior projects, the engineering courses. But speaking to the professors, they're looking. They have to succeed when they try to put one of these projects together, and innovation and invention often involves plenty of failure.
Wouldn't it be great if you could just go straight to the hit every time and never fail? But that's not how innovation generally works. Yeah.
Rarely, right?
Yeah.
So again, it takes a special kind of person to fall down and keep trying. You recall Edison and his 1,000 different ways how not to build a light bulb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually grew up sort of close to a place called Greenfield Village. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Just outside of Detroit, Michigan, actually in Dearborn. My father worked for Ford for 30 plus years, and we had season tickets to go to Greenfield Village. So I learned all about Edison, all about Ford, and all about a lot of innovators that did not make it the first time around.
Exactly right. And so we want to be people that are very much encouraging for inventors and innovators.
Okay.
So in fact, I don't know if I mentioned that I just recently retired, but I work for a company in Chicago, and for some reason, when the calls came into engineering with people with ideas, they often got shunted to me because I guess I had the kind of heart that would encourage people rather than just say, it can't be done or we're not interested. I would always try to work with people and help them in any way that I could. So I think this race kind of built off of all that experience too, just being an encourager of innovation.
Great. Well, when you say innovation, that kind of reminds me of another organization that I've become familiar with, and that's the Northwest Indiana Society of Innovators. Right. Do they get at all involved in your event?
Yes. In fact, I'm a member.
Okay.
And I spoke before their group last spring.
Great.
And in the fall, they had a display of many people with ideas, and we had a booth there and talked to a lot of folks that came through.
Good. So if I am just hearing this podcast today for the first time and I'm interested in, building a vehicle or, competing at this event, what are some good first steps that somebody could take? They would go to the website, learn more about it, I'm sure. But what else? What practical advice could you give for, either current innovators or future innovators for how they can bring this into, a reality?
Practical ideas. Well, I wanted to challenge folks as well, so I built a vehicle myself, which runs on rubber bands. And I always joke with everyone that I don't think rubber bands is the power of the future, but I built this big machine to take to events in Whiting or even anywhere around the area, car shows, or we have Pierogi Fest in Whiting, and in fact I'll have the vehicle at the event here in April coming up, Earth Day.
Earth Day, good.
And it attracts a lot of attention, and people stop and think, and again folks have a lot of ideas, various ways to power a vehicle, and I guess my advice is to just get started. That's the most important thing. If you have an idea.
Mm-hmm. And so I would imagine they could stop by your booth at Earth Day. You will be there with a couple of different vehicles, is that right?
We'll have several vehicles there, yes.
Okay, good.
An air-powered vehicle and the rubber band-powered vehicle, and if they're daring, I'll even let them take a little ride in the rubber band.
We'll have to check their insurance and see.
Yes, they will have to.
Yeah, so we mentioned Earth Day a couple of times. I just want to give a shout-out for information, how you can find out about attending or even exhibiting that event. The website for the host of that event is itmeanstheworld.org, and it is Northwest Indiana Earth Day. So even though it's held in Porter County in Valparaiso, where I live, they do extend a warm welcome to all Northwest Indiana residents and companies who are, trying to make our Earth a friendlier and more environmentally conscious place to be. So it's hosted by Recycling and Waste Reduction District of Porter County, and again, their website is itmeanstheworld.org. So I'll be there too. I'll have a booth for my own organization, 219 GreenConnect, and also representing Northwest Indiana Green Drinks. So that's a fun meetup. I think I had the chance to talk to you about a little bit. And yeah, I hope you can make it to one of those events sometime. I have a feeling that there are people maybe latent in that crowd who would be, tuned into this, or at least would know people that would. It's a good, almost like a monthly mini Earth Day. We have some kind of topic generally, but I'd love to have you speak at one of our events sometime. I think that would be
love to do that.
Really cool.
But the important thing I have to stress is if you have an idea, do something with it. Get started. Don't
Yes.
just dream, but take the next step. It's the most important thing. And then don't get discouraged.
I wholeheartedly agree, and I'll just put in a plug too. My business. I will say the show is made possible by my social media coach, which is me. I teach businesses and nonprofits how to use social media, and anybody with a message, anybody with a dream. There's never been a better time, an easier time, a more affordable time to put your message out there. Anybody can have a Facebook page. Anybody can create a blog for free on WordPress. You can tweet about it. So it's easier than ever to find the people who are interested in connecting and sharing ideas and supporting, your idea. Even if you think you've got a crazy idea, somebody's out there that you can connect with. So if you're interested in more about learning how to use social media, I'll just say you can go to my website, mysocialmediacoach.com. And I do make very affordable email coaching available, or I have an email coaching program available, I should say. So that part doesn't even have to be expensive.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah, enough of my public service announcement. But, sometimes I find it ties in really well with the ideas that we're talking about. You do need a network. Right. You need support. It's hard to just bring an event, out of thin air and make it happen in one day. You obviously have some planning and some relationships and all kinds of things that go on behind that. So, again.
And I must say there, too, that I'm very pleased and thankful for the support that the city of Whiting has given us for the event.
And so how did you approach them initially? I mean, how did that come to be?
I happen to know the current mayor from former days when he was we're not at Alderman, what do you call it, city councilman. And I wrote for the local newspaper, so I knew some folks in town. And I had this dream for many years, and I approached him with the idea, and he thought it was a great idea. And like I say, we tie up 5 miles of Whiting streets for about 4 or 5 hours on one Saturday a year, and the police are very helpful, and all the local vendors, and just everybody in town. We all have a great time. Well,
it sounds great. And what is the specific day? I know it's in August, but tell us again.
August 10th.
August 10th. Okay, very, very cool. I'm going to put that one on my calendar. That sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, and then Earth Day is a lot sooner than that. It's actually Saturday, April 20th, and that'll be from 9 to 4 at the Porter County Expo Center in Valparaiso. So, again, you can find...
all in pieces, so I need to get it back together again.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, I am really, really looking forward to meeting you and seeing everybody, come out to Earth Day. There's always innovation and just new things that you get exposed to, even if you think you're living kind of green in an innovative way. There's just somebody out there that's pushing the envelope, and I love that. And I also love on your website how you've got some goals and objectives that are, I'll just see if these are still kind of valid, to promote the creation of a vehicle for inner-city transport which uses a renewable, non-traditional source of power. Is that still kind of a side objective of this besides the innovation?
Yes, that's it exactly.
Very cool.
That's the overall goal. I mean, it's the innovation that will take us to that. But, and again, we're here to encourage inventors and innovators and people that have ideas.
Good. And then it seems like there's a strong arts component, too. I mean, that might be a little early to talk about that area, but weaving through 5 miles of whiting, I'm sure you've got some things along the route that can encourage and engage participants. Can you tell us a little bit about how that, that aspect of the event came to be?
Well, the last 3 years we partnered with the local art group, and again, I helped organize that group in the beginning, and I think that our inventors lean more towards art than engineering.
Mm-hmm.
Engineering we're tied to many rules and laws of nature that you can hardly get around, where the artist kind of can let their imagination really fly in directions that might lead the engineer, inspire the engineer.
Well, it's interesting that you put it that way because, as I mentioned before, I grew up, being strongly influenced by getting to go to my dad's annual employee family day, and I got to see all the concept cars at Ford Motor Company. I got to go to Greenfield Village, about 1 million times. And I thought when I entered college, I entered an engineering program at the University of Michigan. I thought I wanted to be an engineer because that's what I thought you got to do, was be the person who designed the cool look of the cars. And then I found out, there are a lot of physics that go on with this, and calculus and things of this nature, which I was okay with, but it wasn't really my first love. So I think, an event like this that bridges that chasm that might exist, where somebody's got a concept and then they meet, an innovator or an engineer or somebody else that can take that idea and help give it legs, help give it the science to make it a reality. I just think that's really good. I'm wondering if you ever get involved with the STEM programs too. I was in a group called Discoveries Unlimited, and they have mentoring programs that they offer for kids in the sciences, technology, engineering, and math. And I just think that, I'm just thinking that might be a good person.
I've not heard of that. In fact, if you could maybe forward me something via email.
Absolutely, and you know what? Better than that, I'll say it on air because maybe there's somebody out there that has a kid in that area that would like to find out more. It's called Discoveries Unlimited, and I never know where the show's going to go exactly, so let me just Google that. I'll find out. It's
discovering as you go here, right?
I exactly am doing that. discoveriesunlimited.org, and again, they're in the STEM area, and last I checked, or at least when I was involved, it was specifically oriented toward girls because they kind of figured out that they were an underserved population getting introduced, into those jobs. So they're trying to bridge that gap. But anyway, so they're discoveriesunlimited.org, and I'm sure they're always looking for programs to connect with and, get their kids involved in, and this might be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, sure would, yes.
Yeah. So what's new for you in retirement? Do you find yourself innovating?
Well, a lot of time spent on the race. It does take a lot of planning to put something together every year. And then, as I said, this rubber band-powered vehicle that I need to get back together again with a new motor, I've got some new ideas that I'll have displayed there at Earth Day.
So that song from the 70s is coming into my mind, Rubber Band Man.
Yes.
I mean, what inspired a rubber band powered vehicle? Do you remember the thought that
I
turned
can't remember where it came from. Actually, I don't know.
Okay.
But the whole plan for the vehicle is to make it big and showy, so it would stop people on the tracks, and they would ask me about it, and they'd stop and say, "How does this work?" And I say, "Great, because the purpose of this is to attract your attention," which it did just fine.
That sounds like it's working exactly as it should.
Exactly as it should.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, I've met hundreds of people and many people with ideas, but again, to take that first step, it's just a few that take the step and turn that dream into reality.
Very cool. Well, I can't wait to see what this year's group of candidates comes up with. And is it limited in any way to a maximum number of entries, or can you accommodate?
Well, we're limited by time, but
Mm-hmm.
we could accommodate probably 25 people.
25. Okay. What's the highest number you've had in the past?
4 is the highest we've had thus far.
Okay. Well, I'd love to see you get to 6 at least. Sure.
I would love it.
Yeah. Any of the local colleges, do they have, programs? I know you said professors or educators kind of feel like they need to be tied to success, but are there any, innovator groups at local colleges?
That's interesting as well. There really aren't any innovator groups, and that's something we would like to found too for Northwest Indiana. There's one innovator group in Chicago, one for Chicago, and there's one group in Indiana based out of Indianapolis, which is kind of hard to believe that there aren't more groups around that could help folks that have ideas.
Well, I hope we're wrong. I hope somebody listening to this program says, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe they're having this conversation and they don't know about us." Fill in the blank. So
wonderful.
If you're somebody who's having that idea and is feeling outraged that you are an innovator and you do in fact support this, please give me an email. My email for this program is Kathy@219greenconnect.com, and I would love to tell your story or connect you to the other dots that are hopefully forming this innovative network in Northwest Indiana. I know we've got a few kind of business incubators and things like that. It seems like I've been catching some buzz lately online of people who are interested in furthering, a technical or more maybe computer networking landscape, business networking, I should say. But sometimes there might be crossover there too. So I'll just give a shout out to the things I do know that are happening. There's, the Hammond Innovation Center. They're kind of a business incubator. I don't know that they're necessarily tied in specifically to transportation, but it is a place where I've seen innovative people get together and talk. There's the Purdue Technology Center, and they've got affordable office space and conference rooms and things like that for people that need to get together and are about innovation. So that's kind of cool. And what else? There's an event put on by the Purdue Technology Center that will be held on February 26th at Catch 22 Restaurant in Maryville. So you'd have to contact Purdue Technology Center to find out the specifics of that. I did sign up for it myself, and I thought I would go and check that out. But I like the conversation I'm seeing, online surrounding it. So if I find anything out there, Bill, I'll definitely refer them your way.
Please do that.
Yeah. Anybody else that you see as being kind of a leader? We've mentioned the Society of Innovators, obviously. Any other groups that you can think of that people might connect with?
I can't really think of any at all. Really.
All right. Well, I hope we're just unleashing all kinds of brain power and ideas.
I hope this is just the beginning because, all fields need, especially these days, we need more manufacturing brought back to the area, ideas for things that could be created and put together here in Indiana and sold throughout the world.
Sure. Well, and then another group I'm thinking of that might yield some interest in this is South Shore Clean Cities. I know they have been involved in some, like putting in some biodiesel stations, getting some grants to forward that initiative. But they have their annual meeting next week. And
Correct. I'll be attending that.
You'll be at that. Okay, I will too. So we'll get a chance to meet. Yeah. invited to that. So that's February 12th in Maryville. I believe that's at the Avalon, and I think RSVPs are required. So if people are interested in checking that out, you can go to southshorecleancities.org and find out a little bit more about that. All right. Well, I think that's just about the end of our time. But, Bill, I'd like to have you come on after Earth Day and maybe after you've got some more people in the hopper ready to submit. We can talk more about the buzz closer to the date of your event. That
sounds great. I'd love to.
All right. Well, let's just remind people, this is Kathy Sipple. I'm your host. You've been listening to an episode of 219 GreenConnect, and today with me as my guest, I have had Bill Halliar from Alternate Power Initiative, and we've been talking about Race for the Future. So if you'd like more information about this, please go to alternatepowerinitiative.com, and you can find out how you can participate as an innovator or how you can attend the event in August. So thanks so much for joining us, and I hope you'll come back soon.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.